maybe the first hour and a half, and then I watched the rest of it after when I had some time. But you mentioned most of your early mentors were blues musicians.
Yeah.
Can you go deeper into that? And you also mentioned R&B artists didn't really own their publishing, but a lot of blues guys did. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, to my knowledge, man. I mean, everybody didn't own their publishing, but a lot of guys that I ran into later on in life, they started, a lot of these blues guys been around for a long time. They started off like Swamp Dogg. He was started like 16, 17 years old. He was little Jerry Williams, okay? And, after 10, 15 years of being musically and sexually, what am I saying? Being abused from a musical aspect in a sexual term, shit, you learn shit, okay? You learn. And he learned how to run his own label. He learned how to make sure it's published and copyrights and straightened out. And a lot of these guys would share the information because it was all they had was each other. We talking about the 60s and 70s. So a lot of these guys would get a record deal and then fall off and go back independent and then realize they had certain rights that they didn't have when they were at the major. And because the major still would pump you up, you still had all this fame and this fame. So now you know how to handle your business. So shit, as time progresses, you learn the business. And for the most part, they didn't mind sharing, man. A lot of these guys are Southern guys too. It's a different kind of spirit from the Southern guys versus the California cats, man. I mean, guys on the West Coast. It's a different spirit. Swamp Dogg, Etta James she was from I think she was from Chicago. But even then, she still had a different spirit about sharing information that I hadn't received from anybody else. I didn't know a lot of other people, but from those who I did meet, these two for sure always was willing to, hey man, watch yourself over here, watch yourself over there, especially when you're young. They want to see you be successful.
Now, you mentioned in your own way for YouTube censorship reasons, but you mentioned getting basically taken advantage of. Basically, you said screwed with no Vaseline. I'll say it like that in the music business. In the beginning, Lonzo, were you ever, quote, screwed with no Vaseline by the music biz?
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Dude, that's the entry fee to the game, unfortunately, man. That's the sad part. That is the entry fee to the game. I'm watching different videos and two YouTube stories about acts like In Vogue getting 1 penny on their contract. Who else got a penny? TLC, Chris Cross getting a penny. That means nobody has no respect for your talent, none. And because people are going through these contracts blind, you think, and for the most part, if somebody gives you a contract, gives you a deal, you think you've made it. And even in my own my documentary, N.W.A, Cube said when he got his first record deal from Sony, it was only a single deal. He thought he had made it, and people are blind to what they're signing. And when you find that all the smoke cleared and all the shine wear off the excitement and everything gets back to normal, and you finally take it to a lawyer or a forensic accountant, nigga, you get a penny a record based on your recoupment. So you'll never recoup. And a lot of times that is the issue. And
thank you, Rad 7. Much love.
Much love, Rad 7. And a lot of that comes from the fact that record companies know that depending on if they make your record sales blow up, you're going to get your money on tour. But that's not the deal. That's just how they started to shift, especially in the 90s. It's been that way for a while, but as people started to get other opportunities to make money, the contracts got even more vicious during the 90s and the early 2000s because people getting movie deals, they're getting soda deals, they're getting energy drink deals and perfume deals, and the record company gets none of that money. But then that's how you get to the 360s, because folks is like, hey man, shit, I want some everything. I just don't want your record sales. I want some of everything. I'm gonna give you a big old fat ass advance, and I'm gonna give you some, but I want some everything.
Was there an equivalent back then in the 80s 70s, 80s of the 360 deal, or is this that kind of a newer concept?
That was a newer concept. That came, I think that was Leo Cohn. Allegedly, that was Leo Cohn created something like that because he saw artists blowing up, and they was, you know, even if they got dropped, they were so popular as artists. Shit, they could go in the movie business. Everybody got movie out. Everybody's got a movie out. Everybody's tried their hand at movies. Outkast, LL, Ice Cube, Ludacris, Master P, everybody. 50 Cent is a master of movies now. But that don't help the record company now. The record company helped him get the popularity to be visible enough to get a record deal. I mean, to get a movie role. And that's how they feel. Well, you owe me, so I'm on some everything. Well, you took everything I had to get you. You took everything that I was making and kept it for yourself. So what do I really owe you? That's how the artist feels. So you're always going to have a beef between artists and record companies.
Now, from what I understand, and please let me know if I'm wrong, but back then, and maybe even now, labels were signing artists for 8-album, 9-album, 10-album deals. I mean, New Edition is one that just pops up in my head. From what I understand, that was the case. But why do you think labels did that back then, or now still?
Well, back then, artists were a lot more competitive, man. You usually got better as you stayed on the label longer. You came into your own sound, you came into your own style, and your popularity increased.
Hey, congrats, Devin. Got them taxes in, boy.
I ain't mad at you, Doc. Much love to you. Appreciate you. Record companies assumed that at some point in time you're gonna get better, popularity is gonna go up, so they got you locked in 7-8 records now, and they always got the option to cancel your ass. Just because you got a 10 record deal don't mean you're gonna make 10 records. They got options. That's the magic word, options, and most of those options are at the discretion of the record company. That means it's up to them. They want to keep your black ass in that. You're always disposable if you have no value. But if you not have no value, if you have value, they can retain. And here's the bad part: if you have value and your value increase, don't always mean your contract going to increase. It may, but if it does, not by much.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, you signed your first big label deal was a 1-album deal, correct?
Yes. No, actually, it was a 4-album deal.
Oh, it was. Talk about that.
It was a 4-album deal. We had a deal with Sony Records, and first deal 100,000, and if we just stayed on there, we'd have got bigger advances as we. This is the perfect example of what I just said. Got 100,000 out the gate, and as they retained our contract for extended it, they had to give us more money, like maybe another $50,000 plus, based on previous record sales. If we just flatline